When soldiers of the Austro-Hungarian Empire climbed the frozen Carpathians in 1915, they fought for an empire that many didn't even understand. Czechs, Poles, Hungarians, Croats and Italians, men who spoke different languages, died under the same flag. They believed in something called the empire. And for a time that belief was enough. But belief without representation is fragile. And that is where the Habsburg Empire's story becomes Europe's story again. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was an extraordinary experiment. A state of more than a dozen nationalities held together by shared institutions, railways, and a bureaucracy that somehow worked. But politically, it was built on a contradiction. Real power belonged only to two groups, Germans and Hungarians. Everyone else was told they mattered, but not enough to decide their own fate. When reform was possible, the ruling elite delayed it. When reform became urgent, it was already too late. The empire collapsed not because it was diverse, but because it could not adapt. Now look at the European Union. It too is a grand experiment, perhaps the most successful in history. It ended centuries of war, opened borders, and gave millions the right to live and work anywhere in Europe. But the EU has inherited the same paradox that doomed the old empire: unity without emotional belonging. Europe today has structure, but no shared soul. We share a currency, but not a treasury. We vote, but often feel we have no voice. We are citizens, but we don't always feel represented. During the Eurozone crisis, Greece was humiliated, Italy was sidelined, and Germany quietly set the rules. During the migration crisis, solidarity became a slogan that few were willing to practice. And when Britain left, the response was relief, not reflection. Europe keeps functioning because its leaders are excellent crisis managers. But crisis management is not a substitute for vision. It's what Austria-Hungary did, right until the day it fell apart. So, what's missing? Emotion, a sense of ownership, the belief that Europe is ours, not theirs. The old empire offered loyalty to an emperor. The EU offers loyalty to institutions, complex, distant, and anonymous. We have a flag, an anthem, and even a parliament. But we lack the feeling that these things belong to us. For a union to endure, people must love it, or at least feel it represents them. The Habsburg Empire had loyalty without participation. The EU has participation without loyalty. Neither formula is sustainable forever. If Europe wants to survive as more than an administrative project, it must build legitimacy that is both functional and emotional. That means making democracy visible. Let Europeans vote directly for those who lead in Brussels. Give the Parliament real power. Create a European treasury that can act in a crisis without waiting for 27 national vetoes. And perhaps most importantly, create a European story worth believing in. A union cannot live by treaties alone. It needs shared purpose and shared pride. Europe is not the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but it faces the same danger: the illusion of stability in a system too rigid to change. The Habsburgs believed they could delay reform forever. They were wrong. Europe should not make the same mistake. If we want this union to last, we must give it not just laws and institutions, but heart. If you found this analysis useful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and visit westernrelations.com for more deep dives into Europe's political future. Thank you for watching.